Hello everyone, you are listening to Mr. Nyengera, one of your lecturers. I'm based at the Open Learning Unit. I'm going to be presenting lectures covering the EBM N5 syllabus. So I welcome you all to these lectures, which will mainly be presented through videos. Just to give a background, the Department of Higher Education and Training, through our senior management, has requested lecturers to try various means of reaching out to our students, especially during the period of the lockdown, which has been necessitated by the drive to try and curtail the spread of the deadly coronavirus. Now, I decided to start from Module 4, making the assumption that we perhaps have covered the first 3 modules before the lockdown. For my presentations, I will make use of Entrepreneurship and Business Management N5, 4th edition by Leon Smith. We will start off from lesson 1, which is going to focus on division of work into jobs. Now you have started your business. It is up and running with everyone doing almost everything that needs doing. Now your business has grown in scope and perhaps you now have more employees. You now need to separate activities and put related tasks together into jobs. For instance, all activities to do with handling of money, the sourcing of money, and recording financial transactions can now be grouped together into the job of an accountant. You can call that person accounts clerk or a bookkeeper. And then all those activities to do with obtaining and fulfilling orders can also be grouped together into the job of a salesman. There are 2 methods of doing that. You can consider what is called job generalization or what is called job specialization. In your textbook, they made a mistake because they said job specification. It has to be job specialization. Now, job generalization involves one worker being given more than one job to do. For instance, a human resources officer can also be performing the jobs of a receptionist and that of a typist. Now, this job design is applicable where the organization is small or where specialization is not imperative. In other words, it's not a must that you must go for specialization. Where the organization is financially crippled, in other words, you don't have much money to be affording job specialization. Where the organization deliberately wants to motivate employees through job enlargement. We also have job specialization. Under job specialization, we have employees performing very specific and closely related activities within a given profession. For instance, within administration, an employee could be a reprographer, a data capturer, or admin clerk responsible for purchases only. The employee, in other words, cannot perform more than that particular task. So a reprographer will just be concentrating on photocopying and nothing else. Now, this design is suitable when the organization is big or when you aim to improve worker productivity. And if you have a lot of money or you've got money to be able to pay your workers. It is also suitable when the work to be done is specialized in nature. Advantages of job generalization include 1, the fact that each employee is always faced with the new challenges, which is actually motivational. And there is a variety of activities. The fact that there is a variety of activities means to say, again, the employee gets motivated. We usually say that variety is the spice of life. Should need to replace an employee arises, that won't be difficult. Lastly, it is a low-cost method of work division. Job generalization has got its disadvantages, and they include the following. 1, no expertise is developed. There is an old adage that goes, jack of all trades and master of none. You just know a bit of this and a bit of that. You are not an expert in any of the jobs that you do. Now, the level of employee productivity is usually low. Quality improvement initiatives are undermined as workers are always busy on unrelated activities. And because of employee versatility, that is the ability to hop or move from job to job, you usually have employee retention problems. Advantages of job specialization. Workers can easily develop expertise at what they do. Due to high levels of expertise, the level of employee productivity is high. In other words, the number of units a single employee can produce tend to be more under job specialization. Or the amount of time that an employee takes completing a task tends to be less under job specialization. Now, each employee has more time on his or a specific job, and this gives them more room to improve quality of both the service that they offer and the product. Employees who specialize tend to be less versatile, which increases the organization's chances of having them for a longer period of time. There are also disadvantages associated with the specialization. 1, it can lead to boredom and frustration. Like, for example, if you are specialized, you are doing the same thing over and over. So, because of that, you get bored. And frustration actually comes from the fact that sometimes you want to leave this job, but it's not easy for you to leave it. So, you remain there, probably with a boss that you don't enjoy working with and so forth. And then the next one is that doing the same activities over and over might end up uninteresting. The other thing is that specialists have less chances of being promoted because replacing them tends to be a challenge. To conclude, in this lesson, we looked at 2 methods of dividing work into jobs, that is job generalization and job specialization. We further explored the advantages and disadvantages of either method. Now, in the next lesson, which is lesson 2, we will focus on forming an organizational structure. Thank you for listening.